Welcome to Infocus. I'm your host, Adil Sabri, joining you from Pakistan's federal capital, Islamabad. Afghanistan has been often called or described as the graveyard of empires. It has seen off the likes of Alexander the Great. It has seen the likes of Genghis Khan, the British Empire, the Russians, and now, of course, the latest casualty could be the Americans. The Americans have been bogged down in a long war with the Afghan Taliban, Al-Qaeda. This war, which has been spanning over 9 years, is now the longest war in history. We'll be taking a look at some of the pertinent aspects regarding Afghanistan and the region at large. To discuss these issues, I'm joined by two distinguished guests. Firstly, Brigadier Imtiaz, who served as the Chief of the Intelligence Bureau of Pakistan, also served with Pakistan's premier spy agency, the ISI, and was also a close confidant to former military ruler General Zaid Hamid. Next to him is Mr. Zaid Hamid, who is a renowned security consultant and political commentator. Gentlemen, both welcome to Infocus. I just want to start with you, Brigadier Imtiaz. Of course, it's an open secret that the Mujahideen was supported by the CIA using Saudi Arabia's money and Salafi Wahhabi ideology vis-à-vis Osama bin Laden and also vis-à-vis Pakistan's ISI during the Soviet war, particularly during the reign of General Zaid Hamid. After that, post the withdrawal, we've seen that there was a lot of support for Gulbuddin Hikmatyar, who was a warlord, who a lot of money was channeled through at the time and was supported by Pakistan unequivocally, and particularly the ISI. But then, around about 1994, the Pakistani establishment started focusing towards the Taliban. My question is why?
First of all, I would like to draw your attention to the Geneva Accord. I see Geneva Accord as the basic root cause of the post-withdrawal scenario which has developed as it has developed till today. Because the basic General Zaid had taken a stand that the Geneva Accord must have include the clause of establishment of the interim government before the Soviet troops withdraw. So that once they withdraw, there is no political vacuum and there is a consensus interim government in power to take over the Afghanistan. It did not happen. It did not happen because America did not support this idea, and even General Zaid had local problem within the country inland with the political government of Mr. Junejo. Mr. Junejo had divergent views on this subject, and as a result, finally, I will not go on to the mechanics which took place, but finally, General Zaid withdrew his position on this issue, and the Geneva Accord was signed. In this, the basic problem again occurred, and interestingly, I think it was deliberate, that the Afghan alliance leaders were not included as a direct party to this Geneva Accord. And it was basically signed between the two parties. In 91 onward, Taliban started to emerge as a force, and gradually, rather very fastly, they tried to appear. In fact, they appeared logically a very gigantic force to take over Afghanistan. At this stage, Afghanistan, it's not Pakistan only, but even America, started looking towards Taliban, and if Gulbuddin, who was almost left alone and who thought he had played the major role in the 8 years war against Soviet Union, he had better position now by collaborating with the Taliban to salvage the Afghan situation.
Right. So let me just quickly bring in Mr. Zaid Hamid. Of course, there's always this talk about Pakistani establishment meddling in Afghanistan, and it has been for so many years. Recently, we've seen some rather bizarre reports being published in the West, particularly Amnesty International published a report, then we saw the London School of Economics report, then we saw RAND report, which categorically state that the Pakistani ISI is directly involved in meddling with the Taliban, is playing a double-edged sword. There are some conspiracy theorists who may say that this is all being prepared by Western agencies, certain agencies perhaps like RAW and Mossad, but others may say that there cannot be smoke without fire because Pakistan needs to keep in close contact with the Taliban when the US withdrawal begins.
You see, one thing that you need to understand is that Pakistan, since 1975, since even before pre-Soviet invasion days, ISI has been very active in Afghanistan. The entire anti-Soviet resistance was built, created, orchestrated, managed, led by ISI. And that is why you find that when the Berlin Wall was broken down, the chief of German intelligence sent a piece of a rock of the Berlin Wall to the Pakistani ISI DG, saying, to the one who delivered the first blow. And the fact remains that it is ISI which broke down the Soviet Union, of course with the help of the Western world and the Arab world and the Chinese at that time. The fact is that ISI, Afghanistan has historically remained an integral part of Pakistan. Why I'm saying this? Not geopolitically, even geoeconomically, geoculturally. We speak the same language, the Pashtuns live on this side, Pashtun this side. Pakistani currency is accepted as a normal currency in Afghanistan. The entire agriculture equipment, the implant, the seeds, the books, everything that we have in Afghanistan goes from Pakistan. So, whether we like it or not, Pakistan has a very strong stake in Afghanistan. And this stake has never been ignored by the Pakistani security establishment. Saying that ISI is involved or meddling in Afghanistan is a ridiculous statement in the sense that ISI has a strategic stake, Pakistan has a strategic stake, and we have always been in contact because of the Pashtun tribes that live on both sides of the border, and Taliban are Pashtuns. ISI does not have any strong contacts in Tajiks, Uzbeks and Hazaras. The fact, because those communities don't exist in Pakistan in terms of Pakistani nationalities. Number two is the control of global fuel assets, which are strategically located in this region. Number three is the control of global trading routes and waterways like Gulf of Hormuz, like Malacca Straits, like Suez, and all these regions. Number four is destruction of the concept of political Islam. And number five is containment of Russia. Number six, containment of China. All these strategic objectives can only be achieved by coming into Afghanistan, the heartland of the Muslim Central Asia. And by being here, you are closer to Iran, you're closer to Pakistan, you're closer to China, Xinjiang, Muslim region, you're closer to Central Asia. And you're controlling the fuel corridor, you're controlling the axis where the political Islam is at its best. In the long term, Indians make a natural ally for the Americans for the simple reason that Indians also want to denuclearize the Muslim world. They don't want Pakistan to have a nuclear weapon. They don't want Iran to have a nuclear weapon. Indians want to control the fuel assets of this region as well. Indians want to act as a bulwark against China because that's what they're selling it to the Americans. So all these assets, all these strategic objectives of the Americans for the 21st century very naturally fit in with the objectives of the hegemonic designs of the Indian state. And the very simple fact that this makes them natural allies. That's why you find Israel to be the closest defense cooperator with India.
Let me just talk about the energy corridor that you talk about, the natural resources. According to a New York Times reports that the US Geological Survey had carried out this massive project about the so-called mineral reserves, 980 billion, and it was being touted as the Saudi Arabia of lithium. Is this, in fact, do you think, Brigadier Saab, do you think this is just a PR exercise in order to garner support for the, the waning support for the war, i.e. declaring the spoils of war? Or do you actually believe the Americans are trying to give some sort of impression that Afghanistan may come out of abject poverty once the Americans leave, and that they're perhaps playing the role of a good Samaritan?
They are not concerned with the economic position of Afghanistan. If they were, when the Soviet troops pulled out from Afghanistan, did they implement any reconstruction plan for Afghanistan? No. They did not give any economic aid to Afghanistan, viable and meaningful economic aid. They did not even give, they withdrew their own support from Pakistan as regards the rehabilitation of the Afghan refugees. 3 million Afghan refugees burden, historic, phenomenal issue which we faced all alone by ourselves. So I see that this is only one thing. They have given a threat perception to Afghanistan, people of Afghanistan, that you have this reserve available and only it is the Americans who can make it available to the people of Afghanistan.
Just very quickly, Mr. Hamid, how troublesome could this actually be? I mean, if we're talking about almost $1 trillion worth of mineral reserves, there's going to be a big scramble for for who gets the contracts. We've already heard that China has already initiated a $5 billion contract, and this has irked the Americans, and the Indians want a slice of the share. Will Pakistan allow this ever to happen?
You see, the point is that Pakistan is already very concerned at Indian presence in Afghanistan, and Pakistan under no circumstances would allow Indians to be there. Period. There's no argument on this. Chinese, Pakistan has no problem with that. But Americans would never be allowing Chinese to replace them in Afghanistan. They would probably allow Chinese to make Chinese restaurants, but nothing more. You see? And the point is that what the Americans are trying to do now is, this particular, Americans have not gone into Afghanistan for lithium. We have said the grand strategic objectives were different. These are the fringe benefits. It's not just lithium. The Panjshir Valley is full of emeralds. The Shibargan is full of gas. There are oil and gas reserves which are phenomenal in this region. The Russians have been tapping Shibargan gas for about 30 years now.
Cobalt, copper,
and cobalt